Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Playoffs and Phil.
What's up, guys? Dutchy clocking in here. As always, God bless. Go Birds.
Let the celebration begin.
You are now listening to the 302 Birds Eagles postgame show with Jack and Dalt. Proudly powered by TickPick, the official fan experience partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's take it to the show.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's not Jack. It's not Dalt. It's Jess. It's Joey. It's Adam Den from Philly Sports Pulse, me and him. Joey from Under the Wing. 2026 Eagles football is back. Unfortunately, it is in the worst possible way that you can imagine, but there are some bright spots. There somehow are some bright spots to this game. We're gonna go through it all, but gotta ask, how you guys doing? What do you guys think of this game?
Yeah, Jess, it was, not the most promising start for the Philadelphia Eagles to what they want to accomplish this season, but it's preseason football and it's good to have football back. And like you said, there's still, I think, a lot of things to take away from this in terms of a lot of the young developing players they have on this roster as depth that they can look to and say, hey, we're doing the right things throughout camp. So looking forward to talking about them.
Yeah. Avens?
Yeah, definitely. It didn't look pretty, obviously, but it's the first game of preseason. I don't think they had a joint practice with the Ravens either this week, so it's really the first. They were saying it over and over again. Like Ross Tucker was hammering it home. They weren't tackling. They haven't done anything yet. So this was really the first live action they were getting all year. The defense, like everybody that played defense to me, I thought did fine. Offensively, struggled a little bit. I don't know if that was so much just either a new system, because they weren't doing anything crazy, but it was a little bit of a struggle fest on offense. And I don't think it'll be like that in the regular season. Just it's the first game. You're going to have mishaps and mistakes. So I think they'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also did have Cole Payton and apparently much love.
Cole Payton played well. We got to get into that.
I don't know if I would call it well, but it did. In the first half wasn't great, but it did have the touchdown. Oh, here we go.
Who is the best quarterback for the Eagles tonight, Jesse?
I mean, Cole Payton, but again, not a high bar. Not a high bar at all. All right. If he's ready, we'll bring in the star of the show, CEO and founder of 302 Birds. He's backstage, the one, the only, Dalton Holland. My guy, thank you for jumping on.
Eagles! We can't do shit. We can't do anything tonight. That offense was historically awful, but the one thing I want to say is congratulations to Keely Ringo. Keely Ringo, we thought you were done. We thought you were bye-bye, brother. And you know what? The sad part is Keely Ringo comes from a great family. If you know, you know. Keely Ringo's mom is around the Eagles tailgates a bunch. She's a great human being, friends with Malik Joe. So I wanted to see Keely Ringo ball out. Yeah. And that interception that he had, gentlemen, was a work of art. He looked like a true NFL professional Glad to see it. But what's going on, gentlemen?
What do you think about the PI the play before that?
Hey, you know what? I will say this, Adam. It's preseason. That'll be my excuse for that. You're not wrong, Adam. You're not wrong. I'm glad you picked up on that. But
Dude, literally, Jonah was like, "This guy's having a rough night." Next play, Chris comes in and he tells him, "I won't exactly repeat what he said, but he told him to shut up." Which was
it's how you
hilarious.
respond.
Yeah.
It's how you respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Guys, well, here's my thing with Ringo and this whole secondary to begin with. I look at Makuba and I look at Cooper DeJean, who didn't play tonight, obviously, starter, to hold down the secondary because I don't necessarily trust it. But if you remember Keely Ringo, right? He started out last season, not great. But, I mean, to me, he kind of heated up as the season went on, in my opinion. And if he can build on this, he can make the safety, the secondary unit, maybe, I'm not going to say elite, but pretty darn good.
I mean, I think when we think about not just Keely Ringo, but this entire secondary, we have to consider the amount of guys that didn't play tonight, right? And it's not just Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell like we think of. They didn't have Makuba play. They didn't have Epps play. Michael Carter didn't play, and that's a piece that they can move around to play the nickel or even play safety, which they've been working him in at practice. So I think how bad this group was tonight is not necessarily reflective of at all in any way of what they're going to be in the regular season, and adding Tariq Woolen as well is only going to add to that. So my hope is that, you are not going to see much, if any, Keely Ringo except on special teams, where I thought he played exceptionally tonight and has throughout the entirety of his career, right? That's the reason why he continues to stay on this roster. But he's a guy who's going to have to really battle for a job this offseason. You think about him in camp in competition with guys like Mac McWilliams and JT Gray, who they drafted in that safety room. Like, he's going to have to really battle and fend for his own. And we'll see in a contract year if he's going to be able to hold on like that.
Another defensive positive from a sea of negatives, Shaun Wade. Who is this guy? Forced fumble. The effort that he put in that play was incredible. Do you guys think that Shaun Wade can be an impact on this defense, or is he going to be a practice guy for the rest of the season?
Who's gonna? The last thing I'll say real quick before I hop off here, I'm going to support you guys in the comments, is anybody that makes an impact in the preseason makes a chance for themselves to make an impact in the regular season. So this is like a stepping stone, right? We got lily pads. We're out here. We're in the swamp. We're with Shrek. We're visualizing it, right? We're on one lily pad. We're going to the next lily pad, all right? So my thing is, it's great that he forced a fumble in the preseason. Got to do it in the regular season, though, my guy. Then you know when you really got to do it? In the postseason. Then you'll be a real Eagle, right? Like, look at somebody like Jalix Hunt. Jalix Hunt balled out in the preseason when we first got him for an Eagle, balled out in the regular season, then he balled out in the Super Bowl. So I really think that this is a great stepping stone, but we'll believe it when I see it. Thank you guys for letting me join the post-game show. Thank you, Jesse, for holding it down. Thank you for being here. Adam, thank you for being here. You guys are doing a great job. And as always, God bless. Go back.
Go Birds. Enjoy the wedding, man.
Yeah, I'll add on Shaun Wade. That's a guy who played incredibly at times in college as well. Now, he had a serious penalty problem, was very Keely Ringo-esque, if you will, but it's a physical, lengthy corner who is able to make the most of his time in college and, is not a nothing name in this league. So I'm excited to see if he can hang on a practice squad or something. I would be shocked if it's on the Eagles practice squad, but, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. He came up a few times tonight. I think he's somebody I would look to just, like you said, a practice squad player, or honestly, like they've had a guy like Keely Ringo for years now. And obviously he's not what it was either him or Eli Ricks, I believe, was who Vic Fangio just like Vic Fangio gets high on players and like gets really low on players, like we saw with like Bryce Huff. And I think Keely Ringo was one of those players that Vic Fangio wasn't really keen on. So somebody like Sean Wade comes in, makes impact plays like this in the preseason. I think Vic Fangio is going to look at that and go, okay, this is a guy I'm going to want if it's either on my practice squad or lower on my depth chart in my defense that I know can come in and make a play. Now, he didn't get any penalties tonight. So as far as that goes too, yes, Keely Ringo got an interception. But Sean Wade played a clean game, forced a turnover. So I would say if I'm an Eagles coach, I'm looking at it like, hey, this kid Sean Wade, he's proven himself a little bit more than somebody like Keely Ringo. And I think Sean Wade also played in the UFL, they said this spring.
Mhm.
So he's been around other leagues and stuff. I think that'll help him a little bit too. You know, he's got a little more experience. He's played football a little more recently. He's been in contact a little more recently. So maybe he's a little more acclimated and ready to go. But he looked really good to me tonight. So
Yeah. I think the thing with Keely is always going to be special teams, right? That's where he makes his impact. He's a really great gunner. So I think that's always going to give him something on this roster because Michael Clay loves him. But it really is tough to watch on a nightly basis what he delivers you physically and contrast that with what the potential was. Because this is a guy who we were talking about as like a second-round pick when he got drafted, and it really was the lack of mental IQ at the quarterback position that really hurt him. And now it's hurting him again in the league.
Yeah. What did you guys think? We talked about it in the start of the show, but we talked about Sean Payton, and this brings up a kind of a wider discussion with Jalen Hurts. Obviously, 2028, he's due for a contract, right? And your QB2 situation, if he has a bad year this year, right? Maybe they pick somebody up from free agency. Maybe they draft somebody, something like that. I don't know. But if all
Jess,
if
are
it
you
comes
pitching
down
me
to
a
it,
Cole Payton QB1 season in
I'm
2027
not.
after one preseason game?
Dude, no, that is exactly what I am not doing,
went
my
from Cole
friend.
Payton suck to he's going to be QB1
No.
in 2027.
No,
I love that
hell
touchdown as
no.
much as everybody. But
No,
Way to
absolutely
go, Jesse.
not, my friend. I mean, he's got the wheels, but no, this QB room outside of Hurts, I'll say outside of Hurts, so that doesn't get clipped or whatever, scares the crap out of me. Because listen, for some reason
You don't
there's
trust
a few
Andy
people-
Dalton?
Nah, I'm
What do you mean?
good.
Andy Dalton played a brutal game, man, and
He
it's
was
really
awful.
tough because this is a guy who you would think as like an 18-year NFL veteran, you're able to like put in a normal NFL offense and be fine. And they played a really simplified version of the Sean Mannion stuff tonight. I'm sure we'll get into it, but he just looked lost at times at the line of scrimmage between the communication between him and the offensive line, the communication between him and the receivers. And you read up on what any Eagles beat reporter has been saying, and it's been very similar stuff at camp. So, that's for an 18-year NFL veteran, that is certainly a worry.
Here's the thing, and I just found this out tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I forget who told me this. Donovan McNabb has less career touchdowns than Andy Dalton. How does that make any sense? I'm not the biggest
That man
I'm
was
not
an
the biggest
incredible
McNabb
Cincinnati
guy in the
Bengal.
world, but
He really was. I think we underrate what Andy Dalton was as a Cincinnati Bengal. He had a couple really great. I mean, I think back to 2013 where I think he led the league in passing touchdowns. Like there are a couple Andy Dalton years where that man was on a heater. But I mean, physically, it has caught up to him, and you see that in the arm strength. You see that in the amount of touch on the football field. You see that in the mobility, and when it's not clicking in terms of communication, those things are really spotlighted. And even in Tanner McKee, right, who does not have all those same limitations, but as I'm sure we'll talk about, looked lost inside of a new offense and unable to really find any connection, even with guys who have shined at camp, like a Darius Cooper or a. I guess Darius Cooper is I was gonna say Johnny Wilson, but he didn't play. So, it's tough out there for both these guys.
Yeah, and I mean about Tanner McKee, I won't name names, but there are certain people in the 302 Birds group chat that are very high on Tanner McKee.
Chaos Chris, what?
I do not after this game, Chris. Bad luck for you, buddy. Bad luck. I could not be more out on Tanner McKee if you tried.
I
know it's
I get what
preseason.
you're saying, and I'm not gonna say that you need to be out on him or you don't need to be out on him. I think we have to take stock in what it is. It is the first preseason game, number one, but number two, there was a couple times tonight. Like I think it might have been actually Andy Dalton throwing this one to Darius Cooper, but it went right through Darius Cooper's hand. And I kind of want to get into that in a little bit. Darius Cooper kind of underperformed, in my opinion, tonight for all the hype. Like, I was listening to the radio on the way over here, and Darius Cooper, like, they kept talking about him. They're like, oh, yeah, he's going to have, a big chance to be part of this offense. Like, really, really big chance. And he kind of underperformed tonight. But there was other times where it was like, yeah, I'll give some blame to Tanner McKee because some of his passes were off. But some of them, like, and I feel like it's every year in the preseason, Eagles receivers their backup receivers cannot catch. They can't. And when you have a 3rd and 2, or not a 3rd and 2, like a 2nd and 5, right? And then it turns into like a 3rd and 15 because of a penalty or something, or a 2nd and 15 because of a penalty, which happened over and over tonight. I don't know how much you can blame your quarterback for not being able to make those plays when he's a backup. And I wonder also how much mentally he's kind of getting messed with right now, because he's been, quarterback 2 for the Eagles for the past 3 years now, like 2-3 years.
Yep.
And they bring in this 18-year veteran. And like you said, he's the 18-year veteran. Andy Dalton's not having a good camp, but he's automatically second string over Tanner McKee. So I'm wondering if in the back of his mind, Tanner McKee's thinking, am I not good enough? Like every time I've come in, I thought I've done good in the regular season, and now they bring in this veteran. Are they going to move me? Like, I wonder if that's part of what's going on with Tanner McKee. And as far as Andy Dalton goes, he's old. Like, we've seen some of these old quarterbacks, like Joe Flacco can go out there still and like sling it like 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, whatever. Andy Dalton, no. Andy Dalton has been a mid-tier quarterback for most of his career. I think he had a lot of help having AJ Green for a good part of his career in Cincinnati. But yeah, I didn't understand the move for him in the offseason. I don't understand why they have him now. But that was
I mean, I think the move is your ability to trade Tanner McKee, right? And that is also at the same time something that weighs on both the quarterback and the organization when the quarterback is performing to the way they are. And every report out of training camp as well has been that Tanner McKee has largely not had as great of a camp that he had a year ago or the year prior. He has struggled in timing and working under center more and finding communication with his receivers in this new offense, which is very different from the last one. So I think it's a tough year to be looking to move on from an asset like that when you bring in an entirely new staff. And it puts the Eagles in a tough position that they created this expectation of, oh, we're going to be able to just ship him off for a 3rd-round pick because he has such a great preseason and somebody's starting quarterback is going to get hurt. So I think, they've given themselves a dilemma and are now forced to kind of take it head on. It's not a bad dilemma to have, right? You have 2 quarterbacks you can throw in these games, 2 backup quarterbacks, and I think both by the time the regular season starts are going to be perfectly capable at handling whatever responsibilities are thrust upon them, especially considering some of the Eagles' backup quarterbacks in recent years. I mean, both are much more capable than a Kenny Pickett ever would be. But it's certainly in terms of just pure enjoyment of watching preseason football, watching them kind of muddle through this haphazard offense that hasn't really figured itself out yet. It's not fun to watch.
Yeah.
Well, one more thing, and I know we don't have a lower third tonight for this, so I'll just go with this one, this general one. What do you guys think of Ular Bernard?
He was a lot of fun, Jess. He was so much fun. And I loved that Ross Tucker pointed out right away that they were doubling him, just because why not? But he, I mean, you just seeing him in that uniform, he looks like an NFL football player. And I think that is so important to the Philadelphia Eagles and the way that they develop these dudes and his ability to get game reps, even if they weren't the best game reps, just get game reps and get experience. I remember Jordan Mailata playing with the third team, 10 years ago and being like, oh my God, that's the guy, the rugby guy who they drafted in the 6th round. I can't believe he's playing. That's so awesome. And look where we are now. So I'm excited to see him continue to get reps. I also, is it Joshua Okore? Who was playing next to him? I think that's who it was. Was really fun, and another just physical monster who was a mauler at the defensive tackle position. And those are two guys who I think, you're not going to love everything you see in this preseason. There are certainly some Uar Bernard stats that I watched that, he would like to have back. But at the same time, those are guys who I think are going to end up on this 53-man roster because they're going to be like, hey, I see the physical talent. I see the explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. These are guys who I want in their building. I don't want the Los Angeles Rams poaching this guy off the injured reserve market off the practice squad market. So don't be surprised if these guys end up in the building over your favorite brand name player, cough, cough, Hollywood Brown, that is not performing well.
Yeah. I think Bernard he didn't have, obviously can't say he had a great game, but he, for his first snaps ever in a game, as they were pointing out in the broadcast, he did really good. Obviously Ross Tucker was pointing out he was coming in a little high with his, when he was getting up. I noticed he was getting up off the snap a little slow, but it's going to take time. He's not going to be perfect. He's never played football before, but I was really impressed. Even though they broke the tackle, whatever. Goes to they haven't tackled in practice. They have a bag versus a human that's moving are two different things. And he made a solid play at the goal line to stop the runner, and the runner ran through him. That's fine. I like the talent he has. It's raw, it's undeveloped, but I think they have the right defensive line coach and the right defensive coordinator to work with him, to develop him, and I think he could be really, really good. He's going to be really good. And I don't even know how to say the other guy's name, but it was like bang, Uar Bernard's first snap and then his first snap, and it was he exploded onto the quarterback. He didn't get the sack, but he got the quarterback hit, and he just looked good. He looked fast, and coming off the edge like that, he'll probably be not a long shot to make the team, but they have a good depth at edge rusher now, so it'll probably be a while before we actually see him meaningful snaps. But those are two guys that they can really develop and do really well. And just think of it. In a year or two, when Uar Bernard is really, really good and solid and comfortable playing D tackle, lined him next to Jalen Carter, how scary that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Adam.
No, go ahead, Jess. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, there was one more guy that I had in mind when
okay.
we were.
Well, then let me say this: if you're gonna
if
you're gonna transition to one more guy,
you
have to give all the credit in the world to Clint Hurt, right?
Yeah.
This is a coach who they poached from Seattle, who had a reputation of kind of being in and out buildings, and we talked all this offseason about this team, they lost so many mainstay coaches with Jeff Stoutland coming out. Cliff Hurt has established himself as, I think, not as much of a mainstay because Jeff Stoutland was one of the longest tenure position coaches in football, but, a similarly giant name in this organization, a great developer of defensive linemen. And it's become almost a factory of you draft these guys, you send them in a building with Clint Hurt, and he's able to help them grow. Even, Byron Young looked great tonight. Ty Robinson had some really great snaps tonight. I don't know if those are the two guys you're about to bring up, Jess, but those are two guys who really showed off at times tonight. So I think just by association, these players are growing under Hurt, and expect and hope that he's able to stay in this building and no team poaches him for a defensive coordinator job this offseason.
Well, dude, I was actually gonna go and say Jeremiah Trotter Jr. That's who I was gonna
good
go.
one.
I was
Yep.
that's who I'm going with.
Yep.
Came in five tackles, 2 solo, and 1 sack on the day for him. Here's my thing with Trotter. And listen, I don't have many problems with Vic Fangio. He's a genius. But I really thought that Trotter deserved more snaps last year than we saw out of him. I think if Trotter can build on this preseason, I would love if we could see Jeremiah Trotter more on that Eagles defense. Because I think, just like his dad, I think he's built for the moment. I think he's built for it, man. Just like Campbell. Like, those are 2 dudes that are extremely under the radar in my book that can do some serious damage.
Yeah, Jess. I mean, I think to point to last season is tough, right? Because Nakobe Dean, for all the hoopla, was really fantastic in that defense, and I think his presence as a veteran was needed, even though it came in place of the Campbell and Trotter snaps. I've never been a big Trotter guy. I think he is somewhat lackluster as an athlete, but he's made up for it as he's grown in this league because of his understanding of this Fangio defense and his cerebral nature. And I think especially against the group of backups that he faced tonight, he was able to really make the most of it. So I'm excited and hopeful that he's able to continue to develop. I know a lot of people have pointed to the clause in Zach Bone's contract that makes him cuttable next offseason and said, hey, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I'm not sure I'm there yet. Just because of that, top 5, inside linebacker in the NFL versus Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Yeah. But it's certainly something that gets you thinking if he's able to continue the progress that he's made, and I am hopeful that he's able to.
Yeah, Trotter, he looked good, and this is the problem with him. It's because his last name is Trotter. Everybody expects that he's going to come in and just like his dad, do what his dad did. Like, okay, he's not there yet. And he can get there. He can, because in college he was solid. But he's got some, not catching up to do, but he's got to, like, get a little better, like, mentally, just diagnosing things. And tonight we saw, like, him really attack. And I think that's kind of what he's lacked in the last few years. Obviously, he hasn't got that many reps because they've had better players. They've had the Zach Bonds. They've had the Nakobe Deans. And even they drafted Jahad Campbell. So I think this year he's going to really get his opportunity to step into a role to where he's going to see more action. He's going to get more actual reps against starting players and starting offenses and game plans. I think he'll be okay. I really do. He might not be all worldly, like all pro, but he's going to be starting level material. He will be. And I think, honestly, if, something were to happen to Zach Bond tonight, I really liked the combination there of Trotter and Campbell. Campbell looked fast. Campbell looked aggressive. And I like that. I really did. I know it was kind of last year, I think. I could be wrong about this. People were kind of saying, well, they might bring Campbell in and they might put him back at edge rusher because they were lacking that. But after the offseason, they've bolstered that position. I think he's going to be good to stay at off-ball linebacker, and I think it'll do really, really well in this Vic Fangio defense. And I think those two, they're not going to cut Zach Ball next year unless he goes out and, like, completely, falls off a cliff.
Or trade.
Or trade. They could, or trade. But I just don't see that happening. I think the future, though, of these two guys at linebacker for the Eagles is very, very bright. And I like where it's going, the direction it's going.
Yeah, and we have to bring up Smell Mondon, I think, too, who
Oh yeah.
really did have a great night and has grown, I think, so much as a player from a year ago where I thought he looked completely lost in coverage. Had a couple really great snaps against the Baltimore Ravens tight ends in coverage tonight, and I think we got to give him a shout out.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
Mhm.
Going into week 2 of preseason football against the Patriots, are we going to see the same team, or are we finally, guys, going to see a mainstay starter get at least one snap? That's all I ask.
It didn't
Nope.
it didn't help, right, that a lot of these starters who are in competitions that you would like to see, right, like a Dontavion Wicks, for example,
Yes.
or Johnny Wilson, or a Marcus Epps, right, have been dealing with injuries and kind of in and out of practice throughout this week. So I think once those guys get settled, if they are settled this week, yeah, you might see them. But the reality is the NFL has become a league of joint practices. And if you really want to know what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to be in that building Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as they're facing off against that New England Patriots first team offense and defense.
Oh yeah.
So you're telling me, Adam, that the biggest storyline is going to be A.J. Brown and the damn Patriots?
I'm telling you it will be. And
Yes.
there is every single person has had this circled on their calendar for a couple weeks now. What will it tell us about the Philadelphia Eagles? Probably absolutely nothing. The Cleveland Browns came in and dominated the Eagles in training camp practices a year ago in the open practices, and the Eagles obviously didn't have the success that they wanted to, and maybe that was a bit of a warning sign. They were a lot better than the Cleveland Browns, so I don't think it's necessarily a determining factor in what their season is going to be, is whether or not they can beat up on the New England Patriots in open practices. But at the same time, right, it's just another stepping stone, and I'm excited to see the John Clark tweets or whatever about A.J. Brown jawing at Quinyon Mitchell or whatever I'm getting.
Johnny Airport, man, we love him.
Yeah, we do. He's a great guy.
I'm more excited for the joint practices this week because, yeah, I personally I want to see the training camp highlights. Like I want to see the tweets come out. Oh, AJ Brown gets mossed by Quinyon Mitchell. Like that's what I want to see. I could care less. Like I'm gonna channel my inner Jesse for this week. I could care less about the preseason game. Okay, I really could because you know what we start. So this is why we won't ever see a starter for the Eagles, like an offensive starter, really a defensive starter either. This is why we won't. Did you watch the Giants game today?
Yeah.
You saw, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the Eagles will never play starters. I
Yeah.
mean, even did you watch the Bengals game yesterday? Joe Burrow took
Yeah.
a sack. Like,
Yeah.
that's why we won't ever play our starters, and I can respect it. Like, it's not smart. Maybe when the league was a little more tougher, like, and they had 4 preseason games, you could kind of work in, like, even towards the end of it, they were kind of getting away from it. You could work in like game 1 or 2. You know, you get your offensive starters, defensive starters, like reps or 2. But I think ever since I don't know how many years ago it was, whenever Jalen took that big hit against the Jets in a preseason game, ever since then I don't think
that
we've
was a
seen him in the
game.
preseason, and I think that's why because it's a high risk to put them out there because you're putting them out there like in all reality, right? Last year, I went to the Eagles Bengals preseason game. The Bengals trotted out
Me
Joe
too.
Burrow, Jamar Chase. Like the Eagles were playing backups, and in my sick, twisted brain, what's stopping some nobody on the Eagles playing linebacker from going in there and like ripping Joe Burrow apart, trying to make the team? Like you got to think of it like these guys are playing to just at least make a practice squad versus like somebody like Joe Burrow who's making millions and millions and millions of dollars to just sit on the sideline for the first 4 weeks of preseason like contact football. So that's really my take on that. You shouldn't play your starters anymore in the preseason because it's not safe. As much as I would love to see it, it's not safe. It's kind of risky. You're paying some people way too much money to have them out there. Like it's like do the open practices because that's a little more controlled in a sense, but still injuries could happen. But I'll be focused on that against the Patriots this week. I'll still watch the game next week, but I'll still be focused on open practice more.
And it's still competitive football in these practices, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not talking like, oh, they don't play the preseason games because they're avoiding getting hit. They are getting their shit rocked when we get to these joint practices. So I think, we are going to have competitive football and back and forth when it comes to the AJ Brown drama, but also get a good glimpse at both of these lines of the football against the Patriots offensive line that certainly has its holes and a Patriots defensive line that I think is going to look to, test some of the Eagles roster that has been in and out of the training camp over the last couple weeks, speaking on like Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens. So
Our
it's
old buddy Milton Williams.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be very interesting, and I can't wait to find out what we're going to find out.
Yeah. If you guys got nothing else, I think that's going to wrap things up for the first edition of the 2026 Eagles postgame. We'll see what Dalt wants to do in terms of that intro. I do not think we have this Jack fella on the squad anymore. Dalton, obviously, we got to keep him in there. But we'll see how
If we
things
have
shake
to,
up.
I guess we'll keep it. Well, I guess we'll keep Dalton in it. I guess. If we
he can.
if we must,
If we must, no, we're messing with you, Dalton. We love you, buddy. I hope you're having the. I hope he's in a.
Yeah, how do we get into this wedding? I think that's that's our next question. Where
How
they
do we
have
get into the
Eagles
wedding?
game on at the wedding? That's a wedding that I want to be invited to.
I'm really surprised that he was able to watch that game. And he was actually able to. The answer, I thought he was going to come in and be like,
you got to hit us with the invite next time. We want to be there watching the Eagles game as these people are getting married.
Apparently, he's out in the Midwest, so I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, so we'll see how the Sixers, or not Sixers, the Eagles post-game crew comes along for the rest of the year. But I at least do, for people that are new to seeing our faces, I'm host of Philly Sports Pulse with that guy over to my. Am I pointing in the right direction?
That would be your right,
all the way on the other
your
end,
left and my right.
That way?
The other way was better. Do the other way.
Yeah, okay.
That way.
So,
yeah.
Adam, all the way over
the guy
there.
on the far end.
Yeah.
Yes. Me and him host Philly Sports Pulse Thursday nights for now. We'll see if things change because me and him both go to college, start college up again. So we'll see. But for now, it's Thursday nights. Havens, he hosts Under the Wing Monday nights.
Yeah, now it's Monday nights.
Michael Mooney and Chaos Chris. Occasionally I fill in. But apparently Mooner is the better of the three. That's here
right. You know what? Adam.
Yeah.
Can you believe this? Last week on our show,
God.
because we didn't talk about this guy tonight, so we'll throw his name out there real quick. Last week on our show, Jesse couldn't tell us who Eli Stowers was.
That is not true in the slightest.
Jesse hasn't seen a Rocky movie, so
Hey,
Whoa, you haven't seen a Rocky movie, Jesse? Jesse?
No.
Some things about Jess don't surprise me.
We're going to have to go back and redo this.
Yeah.
Who did your interview
Redo
for
what?
32 Birds?
Just what are we
We have to
doing?
we're gonna have to remake sure that you're like qualified to be a host here.
What is a job application now?
Yeah. You're gonna have to go through rigorous training. You're gonna have to learn all the Eagles draft picks.
I
watch
told
all
him
the
we're gonna
Rocky
tie him up
movies.
in the basement and make him watch at least the first 6.
Oh my
Yep.
That's our goal.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll get all that settled. Just for
We'll
the
live
record,
stream it. Don't worry, guys.
Oh Jesus. Oh man. Well, okay.
Make sure he gets his rations.
I do know who Eli Stowers is. Beast
Yeah, now
in my
that you
opinion.
Googled him.
I didn't go. I give up. Hey, listen. If you want to watch a better show on the network, find Philly Sports Pulse. Actually, Under the Wings. Under the Wings.
You know what? Under the Wing is actually the TMZ of 302 Birds. Okay. we got it all on Under the Wing, okay? You want
I don't know
we
if that's
got
the
drama.
comparison I wanted.
You want
No.
sports? We got sports. We got it all.
Okay.
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 All right. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for the Eagles post-game show. Week 2, Eagles Patriots. We'll see who hosts this. But anyway, I'm Jesse Churro at Havens. To my near right, Adam Dent, all the way to the right. Want to thank who should I thank? Havens, Tick Pick or Balboa's or
I think it's Tick Pick that sponsors this one, or Balboa's.
Yes.
So Tick
Yes.
Pick and Balboa's, and thank
Shout
Dalton
out them.
Holland for coming on too.
I would like to thank Balboa's, and I would like to make it back to Balboa's for my Broad Street Bully in a couple weeks. So shout out Balboa's. I miss you very much.
That I haven't been to Balboa's. Apparently
oh my
they have.
gosh. See, Jesse.
Do they
you're
really
just
have
digging
the
yourself a
best
bigger hole.
cheesesteaks in the land?
Mooner has been to Balboa's, okay? So see, this is why Mooner is better.
Isn't he local though?
We went after the Kate's event.
Right.
Yeah.
But is it true though that Balboa's has the best
Steaks in Delaware?
Yeah, in Delaware. Yeah. As far as many cheesesteak places have had, I would say they're probably the best in Delaware.
By landslide.
Honestly, this might get me hurt or something. Don't tell Skinny Joey, but they might be better than his too. But I didn't say that.
You heard it here first.
It sounds like you did.
I didn't say that.
Shout out Skinny Joey.
That's gonna
Want
be
to
the
meet
clip.
him? Want to meet him at some point. Seems like a fantastic dude, and he can tell him to his face. Anyway, don't know how this went off the rails like it did, but shout out Balboa's. Shout out Tick Pick for sponsoring tonight's stream of the Eagles postgame show. Want to thank Adam and Joey for hopping on. A little spontaneous, but that's how we do it here.
Yep.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, follow through to on Instagram. Follow Philly Sports on Instagram. Sports Pulse on Instagram. Follow Under the Wing on Instagram. Follow all of us because I'd say we're pretty cool.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. And let's go Birds.
This is for you.